It should say REC on the window there.
Yep, it sure is.
Okay. You just zoom in and out. If you want to stop,
Does this handle just release the catch, or does that just step it also?
If you push that, it goes on the pause.
Get a feel for it,
And then you record again. Yeah, you push it again.
I had that. I had that made, and then the other one came equipped with one that the company built.
What do you do to your new punches when the punch wears out?
No, I have to go.
It's not really in focus now.
I go to one of these
really
back up a little bit.
marine places in Bath.
I think there is
You actually have the machine custom?
There may be a macro mode, I'm not just sure yet. There's a lot I don't know about.
But it's nothing you could buy.
In the old days you could buy punches that just fit. Well, it turns out I've had these made from drill sizes.
Drill stock?
There's a certain drill stock that equals this size.
Do you have to put new ones in very often?
No, not particularly. I can get through about 6 years.
I bet you've developed a lot of strength in that finger.
Yeah, well, I told Michael that especially when I run the other one long hours, I can develop a muscular thing where I can't raise my hand. It's from bending over and doing this all the time. I'm left-handed as it is. These are ergonomically incorrect. Like so many.
Make them for left-handed people?
Well,
switch the whole thing over?
Well, it's having to bend over and hold this up. You got to get calluses in weird places. It's like when you handle some of these Italian screwdrivers. I'm sure you've seen them that look like modern art, and you can grip them because they fit where your fingers are.
I've seen scissors.
Yeah, and they look ugly, but they certainly work. That sort of thing. Okay, I've got 2 more bars here.
I wonder what it's doing to your skin when you wear the paint off the punch top, right?
Yeah, you can see how many times that's been painted. It's one of those things, once you get used to it, even though you wished it would design differently, you just keep up with it. Okay. Hopefully I haven't made too many
Do you have
discords.
someone else make the copies? Or?
Playwright. Now that machine will cut 16 and it used to, but I sent him to Playwright. I think I forgot to put a sharp when I was talking on the previous example. If it doesn't sharp, it's just one of those things can be fixed up.
We're very forgiving.
Okay.
I am.
So in this case, you're pretty much relying on the little ratchets on your machine.
Yeah, you're transferring sheet music.
Yeah, and before you were able to do a little more freewheeling.
Yeah, well, of course, I would change stepping on as I go along, and there'd be phrases after I'd. Sometimes I'll punch test strips. That's usually what I do. Of different sections that I want to phrase, and then I'll go ahead and try those. And,
Boy, I must have missed a lot. Okay.
I wouldn't even keep my finger there.
No, I must have touched it by mistake.
It doesn't take much. You don't know how.
You have to hold that lever up. It's not spring-loaded the other way.
This one?
Yeah.
It's spring-loaded. But the thing is, I'm holding this to make sure it doesn't, these can move sideways.
Just to give a little extra to be sure it doesn't move.
But it's from using lots of bad paper over the years. This is a D, okay. And finally we hit a B.
You're not using autotypist paper anymore, are you?
I can't get it. This is pseudo autotypist paper. I have one thing there, and I've got several that Ed Openshaw gave me a number of years ago. And I've done a lot of it on QRS paper, which I bought one time and hated. The last of their white.
Now, some rolls go at a faster tempo than others, don't they? Speed it.
Well, there are only certain steppings you can use, and if you want to copy records, you really have to change the tempi. And of course, if you're really critical, you change the tempi after 2 minutes of play about every 30 seconds, because it's building up, and the artist is playing in between these punches. If you start studying recordings like I do, you realize how far away the player piano is from what you're hearing. And it's because they really saw it as a note transfer from music roll scores for organs. It really, and everything came from player organs. Alien Grand Rolls did. And with those, they just played back the sheet music, and that's all they cared about. And of course, people had simple musical tastes. They didn't really have anything else.
Now, you had one recording of a Moskowski piece on the demo tape.
Moskowski? You mean Rimsky-Korsakov?
No, that's
Flight of the Bumblebee?
No, this was a Moskowski piece.
Oh, that was on Roger Baffer's piano. Yeah, on side 2. Well, that was a good direct cut recording.
Now, what was the idea on that you enhanced?
I got a letter from-
enhanced it? Or?
No, that's exactly the piano playing. However,
was?
the tempo I had my hand on. I got a letter from Quebec, from Guy Berthiaume. He said, I've got that roll. He says, and it slows down in several parts. And I said, well, his piano was sucking so tight, it was affecting it. And I was correcting. And I've only got one person that noticed the tempo change toward the end when the paper buildup comes on. And we'll see what happens here. I should have put the tab on. Let me get some tape. Hey, I ought to just dub the one that they did here for that TV program. And you got 2 minutes and your customers can leave. That would hurt it. Try to do something with it.
There is
Yeah.
quite a difference.
Okay, now. Put the pedal on. Just put it at one volume here and see what happens. Okay, now here we have the live pedal coming here. Saying it. I put the roll on. Make sure my pedal works. It's that one. That just went on the way they did it for the sheet music. Well, they copied it. The sheet music said that little line goes down there. That was my only complaint about Blue Danube. It has too much pedal. But there again, they didn't consider that the pedal is traveling slower than the human, and then it's also dropping from full travel. So when the artist takes his foot off the pedal, the player keeps on for about 2 more holes, 2 or 3 sometimes, running the pedal. I'm surprised they didn't
Basically,
catch that
what
either.
did you do to your version that makes
the
it
pedal?
sound so different? No, just the whole interpretation.
Well, I'm playing with variable key depression. See, I've made studies. Well, it's a piano here. Made studies that when you're going like this, it needs tuning. You maybe have a 32nd to 64th note break between those keys. You go up here. You now probably are approaching a 16th note break. You get up here now. You maybe a 24th or something farther. So and then you're anticipating notes. The beginning and the end of phrases. This isn't as important. You're anticipating the note. Those are the ones that are important. The ones in between aren't. So don't keep the key on long.
Oh, but the other way, they just keep them all constant.
And then also, if I'm considering you're going to be tapping in time to the music, then I do things like this. And of course, it comes. You can see it on the convention roll. It looks like this when you play, but actually, if you did slow motion, I'm doing it this way because that way you're giving more valve action down here. Dead hammers are having more chance. This is more instantaneous, and you can cut it off. You've heard it. Now your ear sort of trails downward as the sound continues. That all goes through my head as I'm doing this. And of course, what I did when I played the pedal, I don't know if you watched the foot pedal, it wasn't running as fast as it did when a pianist plays it. And I went full travel, which no human does. They just sort of nudge it, depending on what part of the scale they're using. Okay. Now, of course, I always study what I'm doing when I'm doing. I don't necessarily copy the pencil mark exactly. Okay, that's all right.
You don't normally have to explain what you're doing while you do it.
No, put it in with the. it's not that I'm nervous. It's because if I don't play the pedal, they're two quick ones here. If I don't play the pedal, now of course that's another advantage. Not only do you save on valves in doing this, but you also give a chance for more rapid pedal simulation. Okay. So in other words, I think of what the sound is I'm creating. I'm not really thinking of fingers and this staff and all the people they hired for these generally came out of the category. And I'd rather have less pedal than more because you never know where a piano's got a slow or leaky pedal. But usually before a roll is released, I'll try it on Roger Baffer's, that piano you heard on the other side of the tape. And I'll also try playing it monotone too, to see when I get away from the piano and see what it sounds like. Oh, I didn't put it on. I thought that was silly.
So you're actually playing for player piano as a distinct instrument. You're not saying I'm going to punch this roll as somebody who's playing the piano as an artist would. You're punching the roll for directly how the piano would respond.
Well, it's like if you're going to play an organ transcription like of a Fats Waller piece, like we heard, or an orchestral piece, you can get effects on the organ, but you might have to do something completely different from the orchestra. Mozart said the silence in music is often the most important. And you'll find that Victor Herbert, a lot of dramatic composers, the blank spaces between their notes are as important as the notes. Arthur Schnabel said that, and that's going to be in one of my things, where they obviously never heard his Antico rolls, for which he got paid, that the spaces between the notes are where the artists are.
I think that's true.
It is. I thought
for the phrasing of the phrase, they did a space
when
between
Wally
the
Rose
notes, not
called
the
me up
notes.
and he wanted to have tied triplets for dotted eighths and sixteenths on his piece. I'm going to give him one and then the reprise will switch. I said, well, it shouldn't matter that much, should it? I said, we're talking about a half perforation per beat. I said, and the difference between that is between a Muzak pianist and Horowitz and Fats Waller. Somebody can really do it. He said, that little bit, and I said, yeah, that little bit. So if I'm complaining, about the way QRS cuts things, it's because when they homogenize things, everything gets that cocktail sound, generally speaking. Okay, now I won't be touching the pedal. I'll just squeeze it here in tiny music. Most of mine sound pretty good without the pedal on, because this is in effect using the pedal fast, sostenuto. Take it off and still humdrum.
Especially those runs where you vary the length and the let up, it gives it a lot of character that this just
Here, I'll
doesn't
give you
have.
a real... Mike was here the last time I was cutting this. I'll play the before and after. This is the Boulware roll. I sent the original one back.